What's up guys, today we're going to be going over the two new legendary swords, the Dark Drinker 2.0, then also the Boltcaster 2.0, and we will be breaking down how to get these swords, what are the best perks on each sword, looking at their DPS numbers for both light attacks and heavy attacks, seeing which is more efficient and what is the best combo, and seeing which sword is better than the other for DPS and things like that. And also we'll be looking at this new arrival mod right here, which is very interesting, where you get a huge increase of sword damage when you're charged with light, and we'll be making a build with that mod for swords. So there's gonna be a lot going on in this video, a lot of numbers, a lot of good information. So let's go ahead and begin, starting with how to get these swords. So for the Boltcaster 2.0, it's pretty easy. All you need is Umbral engrams. So what you can do is just turn them in or focus them into the pyramid focus Umbral engram, which will give you 4 of the new weapons, including the Boltcaster, so you have a 25% chance of getting it. So it's pretty easy to get and farm random rolls from it. But now for the other sword, the Dark Drinker 2.0, until you're rank 45 in the season pass, you cannot farm it from Umbral engrams or focus Umbral engrams into the one that gives you the sword. So pretty much the only way to do it is from the season pass at rank 30, and that is pretty much the only one you have until you're rank 45 in the season pass. And it's a decent roll, it has Whirlwind Blade, but the other perks are pretty bad, so that's pretty much the only thing that has going for it. But as I said, you cannot farm them from Umbral engrams until you're rank 45, because as you see, if you look at the focused one that gives that sword, you also need to unlock the pulse rifle, which is that season pass rank 45. So once you unlock the pulse rifle, you will be able to get this focus engram. Then it also will be in just the general weapon engram too, so it'll be much easier to farm once you do that. But until then, you're just stuck with this one basic roll. So I've been calling them Dark Drinker 2.0 and Boltcaster 2.0 because they're pretty much just legendary versions of their counterpart from D1. With the Boltcaster, it does the little arc frisbee. Then with Dark Drinker, it does the swirly spinning void attack, just like the Dark Drinker in D1. But these swords are very different from each other, and we'll be breaking down exactly what those differences are. But first, let's look at the perks on these weapons. In the first slot, with all the different blade options, you can really use whatever you want. I like the one in the middle where it's increased damage and increased ammo, giving you 57 ammo and decent impact. Then for the guards, it doesn't really matter. You just don't want one that decreases your charge rate. But there is one Swordmaster's Guard that actually increases the charge rate by 10. So that is the best option in that slot because of the fact that you'll be able to right click more often. Then look at the left perk slot for both swords. They both can get Relentless Strikes, which will give you 1 ammo back for every 3 light attacks, which is going to be very good for boss damage when you're just doing light attacks. So you're going to be getting roughly 33% more ammo. Then the other perk in that slot I want to highlight is Tireless Blade, which will give you 1 ammo back for every other kill, which is going to be very good for ad clear. Every 2 kills, 1 ammo back. So over your entire reserves, you're going to have over 50% more ammo. Then the right slot, both swords can get Whirlwind Blade, which is going to be very good for bosses, stacking up to ×5. Then both swords can also get surrounded with Surrounded Spec, which is going to be a really good perk also. And finally, the last perk that I'm going to highlight is Vorpal Weapon on Boltcaster, not Dark Drinker, only Boltcaster. So we're going to look at that one too. So first, breaking down these 3 damage perks and seeing which one is the best. First, without any damage perk at all, we hit 10,836. Now with Vorpal Weapons, it goes to 12,461, which is only a 15% increase, which still makes no sense to me why a boss damage increase perk is the lowest damage increase in the game. But anyways, moving on, now with Whirlwind ×5, we're going to hit all the way up to 13,959, which is going to be that 30% increase, 6% per stack, which is very good. And finally, the last perk that both of these swords has is Surrounded, which you need 3 enemies nearby to proc, and when you do, it's going to be a 35% increase, which isn't that great compared to Whirlwind, which is 30%, and you have a free mod slot for something like Boss Spec, which is 7%, so just right there alone, Whirlwind plus Boss Spec is already higher than Surrounded with Surrounded Spec. So for both swords, the god roll in my opinion will be Whirlwind Blade, then also Relentless Strikes for that increased ammo. Then pretty much the only guard you need is the one that increases charge rate, but if you can't get that one, you just don't want one that decreases it. Another roll I will keep if I get is Tireless Blade and Surrounded on both of them, because that's going to be very good for ad clear. Surrounded isn't going to be best for boss damage, but it's going to be very good for ad clear. Then on top of that, with Tireless Blade for that 50% ammo return. Now looking at the heavy attacks on these weapons, first with Boltcaster, we hit 10,738 on Greg. Now we go ahead and do a right click. It takes 8 ammo to do a right click, which is a lot, and it hits 9 times for that number you saw right there, which is a total of 28,998 per right click. So it's only doing 2.7x damage of that of a light attack, but taking 8 times the ammo. So it's not very efficient for your ammo at all. But let's see how it works for DPS. So what the combo would look like is 5 light attacks followed by a right click, and you would rinse and repeat that combo over and over again. The first 5 light attacks would be to get Whirlwind ×5. then the right click would be all under ×5. Now we look at how long that combo takes. It's going to take roughly 2.904 seconds. meaning the DPS of that combo is 33,686, then also just under 100,000 damage for that entire combo, and that took 13 ammo. So instead of doing that combo that takes 13 ammo, you could also just do 13 light attacks where the first 5 are getting to ×5, then the last 8 are with the ×5 buff, and that takes 6.1 seconds, and the DPS of that is lower at 28.1 thousand, but it's a lot more efficient for your ammo, doing 171,000 damage over that 13 ammo. So depending on what you need with Boltcaster, right clicks is going to increase the DPS, but greatly lower the total damage output, as you see right here. If you use all of your ammo and light attacks, it's nearly double the damage output than if you did combos and throw in a right click every 5 swings. The Boltcaster right click taking 8 ammo is just not really worth the trade-off. Now moving on to Dark Drinker 2.0, doing the same thing, looking at a light attack, it hits 12,062. Now if we go ahead and wait for a right click, this one will only consume 4 ammo, which is half that of Boltcaster, and it will do 7 numbers that are a lot higher. So a heavy attack does just under 60,000 total damage, which is going to be 4.9x the damage of one light attack, and it only uses 4 ammo, so it's actually efficient to do right clicks in terms of damage per ammo. So doing the same combo of 5 light attacks to get ×5 Whirlwind Blade, then also 1 heavy attack afterwards at ×5, it does a lot of damage just right there, killing Greg in just one combo. Now looking at how long that combo takes, it takes roughly 3.271 seconds, which means each one of those combos is doing 44,138 DPS and also doing 144,000 total damage. And that entire combo only consumes 9 ammo, which is way more efficient than Boltcaster. And looking at the total reserves of the sword, it holds 66 with this roll, which means over 1 million total damage output doing combos the entire way, which is actually absurd. And that's actually on the lower end. If you have Whirlwind ×5 the entire way, it would be actually much higher. On top of that, we can use the Wither Horde just like Anarchy, where you stick it twice to an enemy, one on the floor, then one at them, and that will increase both their DPSs by 13,000. So the Dark Drinker would go all the way up to 57.1 thousand, which is really good, and pretty much up there with some of the highest DPS options in the game, if not one of the highest. Now moving on to this new sword mod. While Charged with Light, dealing damage with a sword gives you bonus sword damage for 5 seconds, consuming 1 stack of Charged with Light. Then this mod also has a second part where it greatly increases the charge rate of your equipped swords. And how you get this mod is in the Prismatic Recaster. In the bottom row, you can buy different mods and they rotate daily. And this is one of the cheaper ones. I think you only have to be like rank 1, 2, or 3 or something like that. It's very low, so you can buy it this week. And now looking at what this mod does, the first part I want to test is the increased recharge rate. From doing one heavy attack to being able to do another heavy attack with full power. Without the mod, it takes 5.5 seconds. Now with the mod on, it should be a little bit quicker. See how long that takes. Now doing one heavy attack and waiting, it's going to take 4.272 seconds, which is going to be 22% quicker, which means you're going to be able to do more right clicks more often. And with Dark Drinker, where we showed that the right clicks are super efficient for both total damage output and DPS, that's going to help greatly. Now the other part is once you do damage, you get an increase of damage, which is going to be 35%, which is equal to that of Weapons of Light. But unfortunately, this buff does not stack with other buffs in the game. So if I proc the damage increase from the mod and drop in Power and Rift, they do not stack. I'm still hitting that 15,896 number. So unfortunately, that mod does not stack with other buffs in the game, but it will stack with debuffs, and it's pretty much just a free Weapons of Light without needing a bubble. So if I was making a build with this mod that just pretty much used swords only, I would have a Masterwork sword to make orbs on double kills. Then I'd be using that mod, obviously. And I'll be using Taking Charge, where you become Charged with Light by picking up an Orb of Light. And finally, I'll be using stacks on stacks to get 2 stacks of Charged with Light for every orb I pick up. So now every time I get a double kill with my Masterwork sword, I create an orb, pick it up, get ×2 Charged with Light, which will then give me the 35% increase of sword damage pretty much forever, which is very nice. Then on top of that, you can throw in Devour plus Taken Armaments or something like that and be pretty much good to go on ammo, and also be able to run in and not really worry about dying. So that's definitely a cool build you can use with this mod and this sword. So overall thoughts on these two new swords. The Boltcaster, I think the heavy attack taking 8 ammo is just too much. As you saw, it's not even close to being worth it in terms of total damage output. The entire heavy attack only does 2.7 times the damage of one single light attack, but takes 8 times the ammo. So it pretty much just ruins your ammo economy with the weapon, and only slightly increases the DPS every single time you do one of the heavy attacks. Compared to the Dark Drinker, where the heavy attack only takes 4 ammo and actually does over 4 times the damage of a light attack. So not only is it worth doing in terms of total damage output, it also greatly increases your DPS. The Dark Drinker has really good DPS just for a weapon in general, let alone a legendary weapon at 44,000. pair that with Wither Horde and it goes up to 57,000, which is a really good DPS right now in this meta. So Dark Drinker is definitely the real deal. It's probably one of the best weapons in the entire game right now, one of the best DPS options, and also one of the best total damage output options. So yeah, Dark Drinker is insane. Grind out to level 30 in your season pass, get that Whirlwind roll. It's not great, but then once you get to 45 in season pass, you'll be able to farm out new ones and try to look for Relentless Strikes plus Whirlwind, then also the perk Sword Master's Guard for that plus 10 charge rate, which will allow you to do more heavy attacks more often. Anyways, that's gonna be it for the video. Just a little bit of strike gameplay left over. Anyways, thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.
We can stop them.